victory, and then, oh my goodness, Harstem 2-0 Clem. Everybody will have their conspiracy theories ready. So it's better to do it like this. In the top left side, we look at the main base of one of StarCraft's favorite individuals at this point. Creates amazing content, but still one hell of a Protoss player. Representing Team Liquid, it is Harstem.
Also for Team Liquid, nicknamed the Wonder Kid by the former Wonder Kid, it is Clem, runner-up last season as well. And he came really close to winning it all. So he's definitely a player on the rise. Difficult not to look out for him at this point, right? He's just there. So we expect him to win a title anytime now.
No, absolutely. Like, Clem is no longer an up-and-comer. Clem is just one of the very finest we have in the European scene. I really see Clem as one of the final 3 end bosses we currently have. Of course, the other 2 being Reynor and Serral. That's how good Clem is. He is also the reigning champion of the European Pro Tours Weekly that happened on Monday. Was able to win it pretty convincingly just a couple days ago. It was fun to watch Clem play again, but it does really do feel when you look at a tournament and there is no Reynor, there is no Serral. It's like, all right, so is Clem gonna win it? And the answer more often than not is yes.
What about Gabe? Did they play in that tournament?
No, Gabe lost to Vanya.
Ooh, very spicy. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe is actually still analyzing the VODs as we speak. The plays of Vanya still don't make any sense to him 3 days later.
Nice. I really like the response by Harstem, by the way. He is able to drop a Nexus more or less promptly with just pulling the 3 probes. So gets Clem from building that eBay into it having too much HP, and then kind of just kills it. So that's really nice from him, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty clean. We saw Mana go for a very similar approach on this map as well, actually. Then obviously he did end up getting Hellion drop. Never thought about this, but imagine you're waiting to play your 1 best of 3 a day, right? You're playing a TVP, and Clem is like, all right, I've got a build. I'm going to eBay block into a Hellion drop. And then literally the series before, somebody else does that build on this very specific map. Would that stop you from doing that build?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I would have been even watching so much as seeing when the game ends. I'm not sure that I would be paying a lot of attention intently, but yeah, I don't know, Roddy. I don't know. It's a very difficult call to make because it's definitely fresh on your opponent's mind as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because there is a good chance that Harstem at least had the stream open, just to have an idea of when he would be playing. Clem is going for a very different follow-up, though. Instead, he's going for a double barracks follow-up with some very quick stim. That's kind of cool. You don't see this very often, and I don't think he's going to be moving out until he's got his first 2 medevacs as well. But yeah, fun start here. Kind of an odd build by Clem, but I do think I like it.
Yeah, and it's a really nice wall of at the front from Harstem, though Clem is gonna want that sentry. The sentry hallucinates before it dies, so that's a pretty good heads-up move by Harstem, but the shield battery is not gonna be done in time, and it's a rage pause.
Yep. He's like, all right, I don't know what's happening, but I just saw 2 Hellions kill 2 gateway units. I'm pretty sure there's an issue in the game. Yep. I know that Kevin recently left Blizzard, and we don't know who's in charge of balance right now, but I need to have a call with the person who is. Harstem seems like he's fine, but he's actually not fine. He's in a lot of trouble. He's got 0 units out on the map. There is an adept that's like 85-90% done, but I honestly think that Harstem is going to end up losing 5 probes here. So then you lost a sentry, an adept, 5 probes. I don't want to say you should leave the game, Cats, but I won't be upset if he does.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation. It's so sad. The sentry not able to move out of position. The shield battery a second late. It's a game of inches here, and Clem has taken advantage of everything that he can. Harstem has minimized damage to only 2 probe losses, though, so he might still have a game in his hands. But I mean, just for the 2 Hellions, it's a good start for Clem.
I have no idea why Clem wouldn't go for the main, though. Like, it seems very silly to fight with 2 Hellions in the natural when you know there's a shield battery there. Where if he would have driven into the main base, there is no shield battery. So the amount of shots that he got off, they really would have added up, and he would have 100% killed more probes in the main than he would have done in the natural, because that shield battery is obviously there to always save the day. I think that was a misplay by Clem.
Yeah, to your point also, the gateway at that point was at the natural, so the unit from Harstem, whenever it spawns, would spawn at the natural most likely, or at least as far as Clem knew. So pulling away from that unit and going to the main would have also been an advantage. So I agree with you there. Let's see what happens, though. It's still a very good opening from Clem.
Yeah, it's still way more damage than you normally get out of 2 Hellions. So make no mistake about it, Clem is still going to be happy with it, but it definitely could have been a bit better. I think that's a moment where if you resume it from replay and you play that scenario out again, you'll get way more kills in the main base. Instead, there's going to be an adept in the main base that did delay that third barracks, and I was like, maybe Clem is not paying attention, but of course Clem is paying attention, so he will complete that as well.
Yeah, that was the one SCV that was injured because it just got one shot. So there was always the chance that Clem didn't pay attention because there was only one shot to go out on the Adept, and it happened to be on the SCV that was already damaged and was building the one building. So definitely opportunities to mess up there. We don't mind, however, more opportunities to mess up on the other side of the map.
Oh my god, the first shot is already good, and he unburrowed the other one. I hope Harstem is paying attention in the natural. He's gonna end up losing 4 probes. No, just 2, but loses a few more in the main as well. And things just go from bad to worse.
Yeah, this was really rough. 11 probes altogether. Now Clem has a 4 SCV advantage. You were talking in the previous game about how a 7 SCV advantage was near unrecoverable, and this time around it's against Clem. I mean, he's not gonna stop anytime soon, and you know he's gonna be transitioning as well as he does.
To make things even worse for Harstem, Clem is already moving to the other side of the map with Stim Bio. This is normally where the Stalkers are supposed to be out on the map, right? They're supposed to pick up Marines one by one. Harstem is going to lose that pylon and will probably end up losing the Nexus, if not the game. He is in so much trouble. His army is simply not as powerful as Clem's army.
Yeah, these Stalkers are not going to be able to kite too far back. They are now trapped against the wall, but the shield battery will keep him alive for the time being. However, he has bought a lot of time where maybe he can stabilize if he can keep this Nexus. It's not going to be easy. The Marauders are being targeted down. They deal most of the DPS to the Nexus as the Marines are now fighting and the Stalkers are getting lower and lower. The shield battery is not going to be enough to replenish them, and it looks like Clem will get away with killing this base. I don't know.
Harstem is doing whatever he can, but like regardless, this is very good for Clem. I gotta say, well done there by Harstem. Pulling back into his battery with overcharge is kind of what kept him alive. The Widowmine drop shows up in the main base one more time. And this time, I want to say we'll only get a single probe, but not before Clem makes sure that Harstem ends up losing way more mining time. And Clem is like, you know what? I don't even want to set up for a single probe. We'll go for the natural instead. And I don't know if Harstem is paying attention. Yes, he is.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, exactly. His internal clock is just off the charts, right? He drops the mine as soon as it's about to come off cooldown. That's just insane max efficiency on all fronts. And now he's pushing out with a giant army as well. Though there is a Colossus on the side of Harstem. There is no sentry for Guardian Shield, and this base is sure to go down.
Yep, that's not a good blink, but I don't think it really would have made a difference. That army is unstoppable. GG gets called. Clem is ridiculously good at StarCraft 2 right now. The amount of value he gets of everything, the 2 Hellions in the beginning, like if that shield battery is like 3 seconds quicker, then that sentry doesn't die, then the adept doesn't die. It just goes so bad, and how much value he gets out of that mine drop, where he doesn't just go in once, but he goes in like 3 times, burrows on burrows. It's not just the kills, it's all the lost mining time. Then on top of that, flawless macro at home. Clem is a monster.
Yeah, he really is finding those openings and identifying those openings, because he is the type of player that for so long has been sometimes you have to be overly aggressive to find out what the real limitations of the units are. So knowing to engage and that you can kill that sentry with the 2 Hellions, I mean, it's so difficult, right? And to Harstem's credit, hallucinating at the very last second, and it was a little bit heartbreaking because it really was a game of inches where 1 or 2 seconds would have made a difference there for the shield battery. But as it stands, the snowball of Clem was just too strong to stop.
It really does feel that Clem is so good in calculating range within StarCraft 2. He just always knows exactly where his units can be to be safe, and when they can go in to deal damage and still get out of there as well. It's kind of like an MMA fighter that's just perfect at range. When you swing, you miss, but when he swings, he hits you. And Clem is just so perfect in staying right on the edge all the time, but always on the right side of the line. And the kid is amazing. I think anything other than a top 4 finish this season for Clem, I would say is a massive disappointment, because I don't see many people stopping this kid right now, kids.
Yeah, it would be very difficult. It would have to be some magic happening there, where somehow one of the triad of the trio ends up losing, and they end up playing each other too early or something like that. But I don't see anyone other than Cyril and Reynor really giving Clem too much trouble as the season progresses.
You know, obviously, there's always guys like a Showtime, right? That could play an amazing best of 5 and could potentially push Clem to the limit, or maybe a Euthermal, or of course, Big Gabe in the TVT series.
Gabe,
I know that Gabe has a lot of diehard fans, and yes, all of that is possible, but it just feels that Clem, it's such a cliche when you're like, he's only getting better, but this kid is still getting better, and it already feels like he's on top of the European scene together with those other two. But the fact that he's still improving tournament after tournament, it's pretty fascinating. I don't know what they did over there at Team Liquid, but they truly have created a little monster, and it's pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And now we're loading into the next map. It's going to be Romanticide. So let's see if Harstem can strike back on this one. It's going to be a tall task, but I mean, the Dutch, he's a very strong player. Up there with Euthermal and Roddy for the contenders of the Dutch throne.
No. Then you're not giving enough credit to Marsman and Agaham. I put those two above myself. But Harstem and Euthermal are in a league of their own, that's for sure.
Most definitely. And in the top left-hand side, it is the Wonder Kid. It is Liquid's Clem.
And in the bottom right side, the Flying Dutchman himself, of course, representing Team Liquid as well, it is Harstem.
Okay, so Harstem is not particularly known as a very tricky player. I mostly see him as a macro-oriented player. Do you think that's fair to say?
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually think Harstem does his best work off 4 bases and having a double robo. Like, I think Harstem is really good with complicated armies.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very good with control. One of my favorite micro Protoss players to watch. He makes amazing decisions. Like, again, it looks bad because the Hellions of Clem were so good, but that hallucination over, say, dropping a force field, which is what my mind would gravitate to, was really cool, right? It's like last second, you know your unit's gonna die, you get value out of it. That's the kind of play that I expect from Harstem, and that makes him a very fun player to watch for me. Clem is gonna go for this very annoying eBay block.
You know why I hate to see this, Cats? Is that like when Beyond does this in the GSL, you know, everybody does this on the ladder for a couple days. Yeah. But then they still end up losing their little ladder games, and then they're like, you know what, Protoss is ridiculous. Seems like Harstem is having some internet issues. That's very unfortunate. It's actually very stormy. I don't know if this is a knowledgeable or useful information, but there is a storm going on. Like, it's super dark outside. It's very windy. So there's a good chance that maybe the storm is impacting the internet where he lives, because he actually lives quite close to me.
Yeah, that could very well be the case. And yeah, Roddy, it feels like this type of tactic, the eBay block, it took a long time to come online, right? Similar to really, I mean, Protoss players did block Circ players earlier, but it took a little while to see developments like this in the meta.
Yeah, it comes and goes. It's always like whenever Maru or Bjorn or, you know, starts doing this in the GSL and they win the best of 5, everybody does it for a week. And they're like, you know what, we're still losing, so they will stop doing it, because eBay blocks do mess with the Terran build order a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And I noticed a massive spike in the amount of times that I got eBay blocked myself on the ladder. But it started to slow down a little bit again over the last day and a half, and I'm like, nice, because I find it really annoying. It's not even that I think it's like super good or I feel behind. It's just annoying, you know, like we just want to sit down as an old man and get your little build order going, and I don't want to deal with an eBay in my natural 3 minutes in the game. But yeah, if Clem does it now in back-to-back games, I'm pretty sure that the rest of the week I'm gonna get eBay blocked again every single game, and I'm not a happy man about it, Cats.
Yeah, and you're not helping the case either by saying you're not a happy man about it. You're telling all the Terrans that we're not happy when it happens. So
no, I'm not happy about it, but I'll deal with it. You know, like it's not that bad as a Protoss player.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a very similar situation to the hatch block, where both players kind of feel like they're falling behind, because as far as their build order is concerned and their own progression is concerned, it's going to be true that you get set behind either way. But it makes chaotic situations, right? And we've seen a lot of chaos so far in this season. I think more than we were expecting. It's been kind of crazy so far.
It's been a very fun start to DreamHack Masters Winter. I think this could have been an easy 2-0 for Reiner, could have been an easy 2-0 for Mana, and then we would have all just been seeing it like, oh yeah, that's kind of what we expected. But no, instead, I feel like we got treated as fans, as spectators, to some ridiculous games and a couple of upsets. So it's been a fun start. Unfortunately, that last game was a bit of a beatdown. We truly hope that the internet holds up for Harstem, because it seems like we can continue. And hopefully Harstem can give us a little pleasant surprise as well in game 2 against Clem.
Yeah, it's so difficult. It's really Clem just applying pressure and kind of like leaning in on it, right? He doesn't stop punching you once he gets a hold of you. Is kind of the thing that he seems to go for. Though I do like this response from Harstem again, a very prompt response. Is going to be able to drop the Nexus without really floating any money. Mm-hmm. So pretty good start.
You know what my response is, Cats?
What is it?
I just build a Nexus elsewhere.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pros do that too. Mm-hmm. It feels so uncomfortable. Then against Hellions, it's so difficult.
Yeah, well, you know what's faster than a Hellion, mate?
What is it?
You know the answer.
Phoenixes.
Yes! Wow, I can't believe that took you so long.
But how do you have Phoenixes by then, you know? By the first Hellion run by.
I mean, you just build a Stargate immediately, you chrono boost out the first Phoenix. Easy peasy, mate.
Easy peasy. Alrighty, so we have a starport proxied actually at a pretty cool location, because it's very difficult to divert the units to go on that path. So
yeah,
cool choice.
It almost feels like too obvious of a spot for something to be proxied. So if you're Harstem, you're going to check every little corner, but most of the time you won't check this. But I do think he is going to see it with this probe. Oh, come on. Okay, yeah, he does see it.
Yeah, barely. The medevac is already on the way, though. It's going to be very difficult. He won't be able to stop the starport from going up, obviously. But yeah, he does know what's coming.
Yeah. I think the scout is always very important, because now A, you know it's there, and B, you know which angle it will most likely come from. And if he wants to take a different angle, that's fine. But that will take a lot of time. So I think it's a pretty good start for Harstem.
Yeah, Harstem's looking to see if there's maybe a Liberator or something, but seeing the Hellions, it will... Okay, and the hallucinated Phoenix is going to confirm the medevac, so it's going to be very difficult for Clem to do something. It looks like he's looking to Elevator into either the main or the natural as he sees fit. He's going to go for the main, but Harstem has units in place.
Yep. I mean, Hellions are quicker than Adepts, though, and medevacs with their boosts are a little bit quicker as well. There is no shield battery in the main base, which means Harstem will still end up losing a couple of units. And this is where I feel like Clem really shines, because he's going to pick everything up. He's going to turn around again. He's using the Sim City, and the probes are very clumped up. He's not really getting the absolute money shots, but this is still a good opening. Oh my goodness.
Oh god, the Stalkers are not partaking at all in the fight. They kind of just were shoved off to the side to prevent the medevac from escaping or to do some damage to it, and then they weren't re-hotkeyed to come back to fight. So Harstem, in a great deal of trouble, has lost already 11 workers, knowing exactly what was coming.
Look how much value Clem is getting out of this drop. It's ridiculous. He's staying alive for so long. He's getting so many additional shots of it. At one point, it feels that his medevacs are actually the one shooting flames out of it right now. Yeah, this is it. GG gets called.